This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.
Welcome back to the show. I'm so excited to have Suzanne Keating joining us here again. Excited to talk about how the sun is now in Leo. And really, I could feel her energy as an astrologer and pathways of the soul located in beautiful Nantucket Island, Massachusetts. We are excited to have you back. How's everything?
Oh, everything's great. Thank you. Not only is the sun in Leo, but the moon is going to join the sun in about maybe 10 minutes, less than
Ah,
10 minutes
tell
for the
us,
new
tell
moon.
us. All
So,
right,
so,
wow.
so the sun is, outgoing energy. It's the vitality. And so when it moves through the zodiac and it hits Leo, it's all about fun in the sun and creative self-expression and joy and letting your inner child out. Well, when the moon comes in to join it at the new moon, we're at the last few minutes of a balsamic moon. It isn't the time to begin anything in the week before the new moon, but now in the next 10 minutes or less, it'll be time to the moon reflects the inner self, and it will be the inner and the outer coming together, both of them in Leo. So it's like a double dose. The sun is really strong here, but today the new moon in Leo, it's fantastic. It, it
Yay.
yeah, it's exciting.
Oh my goodness. See, I don't know anything about this. I'm learning from you, and you're going to take a lot of us out there that are beginners with astrology, and you could fill us in on how this all
Yeah.
works. And it's amazing, all this energy, this knowledge you have to share. So, what else do we need to know?
Well, so um, with the new moon, it's time to ask yourself, what do I need? What do I want? And not to be afraid to speak it, to step up, to be courageous. Because what's the symbol of Leo? The lion, right?
Yeah.
So some people they're they keep themselves small and they're afraid to speak their piece in their voice or whatever. And this is the good time for people to say, hey, I'm over here, this is what I need, this is what I want. Hey, you want to go to the beach with me today and we'll go kayaking or whatever. It's really about enjoyment, and it's also about love and romance. Not so much love, but that spark of romance, that if you have a partner, you say, today I'm ditching the office. I packed a picnic lunch. Let's go to the lake, that kind of thing. Then we have that ability to speak up and say, it's time for me to whatever, fill in the blank, take a risk, step out of your comfort zone, do something different for a change. That's also what happens when the new moon comes comes along, and we have this inner and outer energy is aligned, because the planets are really just energies. Okay, just think of them as archetypes or energies. The sign they're in is how that energy expresses, and Leo expresses loudly, often dramatically. People who are Leo sun signs, you probably know a few people Leos, they come in the room, they want to be noticed. They
Yeah.
make an entrance. They flip their hair over their shoulder. They have manes. They really want you to appreciate them and show appreciation, and they dish it out in return. They will give you attention. They'll shower you with gifts. What Leos are very loving and very supportive of the people in their lives. But the one thing you never ever do with a Leo, you don't ever laugh at them. You don't make them feel small, because they're the biggest person in the room, and they will help you, and as long as they feel appreciated by you. So that's the sun in Leo. But more importantly, today is this new moon that's going to be in effect for 4 weeks, because the moon has a cycle. Starts at the new moon, goes to the full moon in 2 weeks. And we have these 2 weeks to really build up our strength, our courage, and say, I'm going to step up and I'm going to do this. Take an acting class, take a painting class, whatever. So it's a fixed fire sign. What that means is, Leos, there's four fixed signs in the zodiac. There's Taurus and its polar opposite Scorpio, and there's Leo and its polar opposite Aquarius. So what we have is this two sides of one coin. Okay. And Leo is about the self and expressiveness. Leo opposes the air sign, the fixed air sign Aquarius, and that's about the group energy, taking your light into the group and letting it shine. But being part of the group, you're not the most important person in the room anymore, but you're
Mm-hmm.
letting your light shine. So we've got 2 weeks to keep building up what it is we want to do, to step up, to step outside of our comfort zone. Let's see, what else can I say about that? To stand in our light, basically that's what it's about, to be a unique individual. Yeah.
Well, let me ask you this, because a lot of us, I mean, all of us, I should say, are unique individuals, right?
We are.
And I guess these signs really can, you can learn so much about someone, and there's all certain different characteristics of the signs, which you're the expert on, right? And what do we need to know? There's so much. I mean, I really like, you said the sun is now in Leo, right? The fixed fire
Yes,
side of the
right.
zodiac. Why do people want to be noticed? What is happening? Is it energy that's pulling us and setting us back? I'm like,
Well,
how does this work?
how, okay, good questions. Um, uh, the sun moves through something, through a sign, and that's how that expresses. The sun doesn't make us do anything, but for the next 30 days, or let's say a little bit less, the sun moved into Leo, let's see, let's say 24th, so 2 or 3 days ago. For the next roughly 27 days, notice everyone around you who has a birthday. They're all Leos. Okay. So the people with the birthdays between July 22nd and August 23rd, they're like, they want to have fun. The downside of Leo is that they're a fixed sign. Their ego, their will can get really strong. And so they can sometimes overpower people and say, but honey, if you loved me, you'd do it my way, that kind of thing. But knowing where Leo is in your chart, in your birth chart, is the most important thing. Even if you're not a Leo, even if the sign Leo isn't your rising sign, everybody has Leo in their chart. And when the sun is moving through there, that's your time to shine, that area of your life. So it can be in your sixth house of work and health and day-to-day scheduling. And that's when everybody comes to you and says, oh, let's do this. I have this great idea. So you want to kind of ask your astrologer, where's Leo in my chart? And that's because everybody has this ability to tap into that energy. Okay. And the houses in the chart are the different areas of your life. So
Oh
yeah,
my goodness. All right.
I don't.
Well,
I feel like there was another question you asked in there, and I
there
didn't.
was, and I don't remember what it was,
I
but
know.
it's okay. It's okay.
Oh, why do people want to be noticed?
Yes, yes.
That's
I
yes.
read that.
It's a Leo question. Okay, people. Some people do want to be noticed, and some don't. But when we have all this energy for creativity and self-expression, sometimes people haven't been brave and they haven't stepped up, and now all of a sudden they're saying, I've got a great idea for the cover of this book, and nobody's listening to them, and yet it's the most creative thing they've come up with all year. And so they want that recognition, they want to be heard, and if they are heard, then they'll go the nth degree to bring people on board and to make make it work and be a win-win for everybody. Leos want to please. Okay. You don't go to the bank when the sun is in Taurus or the moon is in Taurus and ask for a loan, because they're going to say Taurus is a fixed sign too. And it's going to say, this is my money. Sorry, we don't have enough to lend today. But you go when the moon or the sun is in Leo and they want to please, they want to help. So there's a whole lot to learn about astrology. But for right now, just notice the people around you in the next lunar cycle here that will end at the next new moon when it all moves into Virgo, and go along for the ride with them. They're having fun and they invite you to have fun. Go for it.
Yes, well, I want to have fun. And, it's like
Good.
vacation time. That's what's happening.
It,
Is this lunar cycle ready? I'm going on vacation this weekend with my boys. We're
good.
going to Florida. Yes.
Good. Well, see, and look at that's what a lot of people take vacations in August because the sun is in Leo too. They really just getting away from the test. When the sun and the moves back into Virgo in the beginning of September, what happens? We go back to school. Kids go back to school. We go back to work. We have to take care of the details. We need the downtime. We need the fun time. So yeah, that's vacation time. And I know people take vacations depending on their schedules at all different times of the year, but if you're lucky, you get to take it in the end of July and into the third week in August.
Yeah. Wow. Now, what else happens? Let's figure this out. So here we are.
Okay.
This Leo new moon is taking place
Yep.
now, right? And it lasts till
Yes.
when? And then what happens?
Well, the Leo new moon is a piece. It's just the start of the lunar cycle. The moon changes signs every 2.5 days, but that's not the point. It's setting up a 4 week journey of knowing what our own unique gifts are, our creativity, our strengths, all of that, how to be more expressive. The other things that are going on are this month. We still have, for instance, two of the other big things right now is that Saturn is in Aries, and it went retrograde on July 13th, and it's going to stay retrograde through till into November.
Wow.
Saturn is necessity, responsibility. Aries is new beginnings. We are in this phase of being able to start to build our dreams into something, to have foundations. We've got Aries is the first sign of the zodiac, and it's another fire sign. So for 2.5 years, Saturn was in Pisces in it, and it moved into Aries. Pisces is ruled by Neptune. Neptune was also
Yeah.
in its own sign, and now it's in Aries. These signs are going to come to these planets. This is a big thing, a big deal. This hasn't happened in a long time. Saturn and Neptune come together in Aries on February 13th, 2026. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry, I said that wrong. February 20th. But Neptune and Saturn join together in February. And because Neptune is so far out, it's going to stay from January 26th of 2026 until March 23rd, 2039. That's a long time. And yet Saturn is only going to stay in Aries
Okay.
from until April of 2028. That means that we are going to have the next 2 years beginning in January to start building on the dreams that we've been having of what we want to do. And the retrograde cycle, like I spoke about the last podcast, retrogrades are for reviewing, renewing, and redoing. With Mercury, that's what it is. Saturn's going to go over this territory that you already were in this spring, be last winter and spring. So during September, October, and November, watch what comes up around. Oh, wait, I was going to set this in motion. I was going to start that.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be the thing for you to pay attention to. To maybe there's something that you didn't take care of, didn't finish
Yeah.
that on a responsibility wise, or a project, you know, and just notice what needs to be finished. And we're going to have a
Wow.
chance to revisit our dreams too. And Neptune is all about illusion versus reality. It's our spiritual, kind of our pulse taking spiritual thing, where we're going to get to redefine ourselves and our self identity in a way that was hidden before. Neptune sort of behind the scenes, rules the oceans, things that go with the flow. And it's going to start to become more a part of a daily life, where we're talking next year about how do we put more spirituality into government? How do we put more spirituality into
Yeah.
organizations where we know that people matter more?
Yeah.
One of the things that was happening while Saturn and Neptune were together in Pisces was immigrants coming across the oceans, things like that. And Neptune has immense compassion. what do we do about it? That's a big question.
Mm-hmm.
All of these things are being addressed, not just in the United States, all over the world. And so we're in big times. There's a lot of change going on. But the other thing I want to say about today's new moon, the, that placement, it's at 2 degrees of Leo, and it's directly opposed to the furthest out planet in our solar system, Pluto. And Pluto's at 2 degrees of Aquarius. This is an absolute conjunction for change, for our creativity and stepping up and reclaiming some of our power, because Pluto's about power. Who has the power? Who took the power? Who do we give it to? Now we're gonna have this highlighted. We're gonna be able to see where we stand. Is this the
Yeah.
group for me? Is that the organ? That those are the kind of questions we're asking ourselves right now. So it's not about taking, something that isn't yours. It's about stepping up into your truth. And there's a lot of that going on right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
So I didn't mean to get heavy after all that new moon in Leo
No,
stuff.
I want to keep hearing more. Get heavier. Bring it on. There's so much more happening, right?
Well,
Because the Neptune was in Aries and
mhm,
retrograde and all that. There's so much significance in that.
yeah. Yeah. Neptune is really, it rules all kinds of things: fog, films, drugs, alcohol, dreams, the subconscious, all the things that have no boundaries, right? No
Yep.
boundaries, just wavy gravy like Ghost, right? Saturn is all about boundaries. Saturn says, no, that's you're on the other side of that wall. Saturn over here, this is this is my business, and I have to contain uh my my resources and all of that. Well, Saturn is a very important planet for manifestation. Hard work is the secret to manifesting things. But Saturn is also it consolidates. It says, there's not quite enough here. I call Saturn cosmic police. Um, the other planet, Jupiter, is the biggest planet in our solar system. I call cosmic Santa Claus. Cosmic Santa Claus is like my dad. He'd say, there's another meatball in the pot. That kid can stay for dinner. He already had 10 kids at the house, but it was okay to have this other kid come over. Whereas cosmic Saturn says, there's not enough. Sorry, we'd have to break that meatball into 2 pieces, and that's not right. So we're not doing that. So it's just a different way of looking at things. And Saturn, being in Aries, is all about building the business we want. And when it aligns with Neptune, it takes into account the compassion for other people and how we're going to affect other people. And it's like putting some structure to our dreams. Saturn and Neptune, structure and dreams. And it's really, a lot of people are going through this right now, asking themselves, are they doing the right thing for themselves?
Wow.
Good
Well,
questions.
I love this stuff. And, each and every, we got stuff that happens now. I know like these new moons come back, right? And the lunar cycle comes and goes and all. But how does it change year to year, like in astrology, like 2025 compared to what's going to happen with the retrograde for the 2026, you know?
Yeah, it's not quite that formulaic, okay?
Oh,
So
okay.
every month there is a new moon. The new moons don't come back so much as they go through a new
Yeah.
sign. So right now we have the new moon in Leo. The next sign in the zodiac is Virgo, and then Scorpio, then Sagittarius, then Capricorn, and so on. And so each month we'll have the sun going through that zodiac sign, and because the moon is our satellite and it takes 2.5 days in a sign, it will at some point in that month join the sun wherever it is. And that determines the new moon. And the new moon is the focus for whatever that sign is about. So Virgo it's a mutable earth sign. We have to adapt. That's when we adapt. That's when we look at our diet, our nutrition. What are we putting in our bodies? What are we taking in? Are we listening to the news 24/7? And how's that affecting our minds? So it's what we digest, and it's about being discerning. I can't be listening to the news all
Uh-huh.
day long. It's going to make me crazy. So I'm
Yeah.
only going to listen to it at this time of the day. So it's a different focus, a different function that happens with the new moon each month. Then, and it goes on. It starts, the astrological year starts in April when the sun moves into Aries, spring, new shoots, new
Ooh.
beginnings. I know. And it goes through the whole year and it ends with Pisces in March. So that's recurring all the time. But the outer planets, Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, they only change signs every 7, 8, or maybe 12 to 15 years. And all of them just did this year. And that's why 2025 is such a huge year of change, huge year of possibility, because all the outer planets have changed signs. And
Ah,
I've been teaching this all winter, so I don't have time to do a whole class here, but it's a big deal. The interpersonal planets are Jupiter and Saturn, the cosmic police and the cosmic Santa Claus. They're how we interact with people. Jupiter takes 1 year in every sign, goes around, takes a year in a sign, might retrograde back, but we know that every year every 12 years, Jupiter is going to start over again in a new cycle. Saturn takes 2.5 years to go through a sign. Roughly, they retrograde and then they move back and forth. But Saturn has a cycle. Have you ever heard anyone say, oh, they're having their Saturn return? It just means at age 28 and a half, they're all of a sudden they're maturing, because Saturn is the ruler of time. And they go, oh my God, I'm not in my early 20s anymore. I got to get serious. By the time I was 30, I was going to have the White House picket fence, 2 kids and a dog. And I've got nothing but a Jeep, so
yeah.
they're going to go get serious at 28 and a half. The personal planets are, the sun and the moon are what we call the lights, and they have this interaction. That's why we have all the different lunar phases and why we're at a new moon right now. But the planets Venus and Mercury, they
Yeah.
follow the sun very closely. They're very close. And
Really?
Mercury's the closest to the sun. She is I don't know, has a movement around the sun. It's so fast that's why it appears to be going retrograde 3 times a year. But the sun is about communication, and communication coming in very quickly. Venus is about money and love and values, and Venus has about a 30-day cycle too, sometimes a little bit longer. Mars takes a little bit longer, it's further out. But Mercury, Venus, and Mars are between the Earth and the Sun.
Yeah.
Beyond us, oh no, I'm sorry, I said that backwards. Mercury and Venus are, and the Mars is just beyond us, and then Jupiter and the other planets are beyond the Earth, because the Earth is a planet too. We're all in this together. So what we're looking at is where all these planets are from our position on the Earth. And that's why we say the sun is in Leo
Got it.
and Saturn's in Aries, because it's when we look out into space with the telescope, we see where they are.
Do you do that often, Suzanne? I could picture you out there on Nantucket. Like, do you have
I do when I can, when I have a chance to. I did that once. My son had a telescope set up in his apartment in Boston, and we went to look at the full moon. And I said, "Oh, we did." And then he started to break down the telescope. I said, "Don't break down the telescope. We're going to be able to see Jupiter in about 2.5 hours, and we'll see all
wow.
4 moons tonight." Well, he didn't believe me, And I said, "Just humor me. Just leave the telescope up." And I went back up and looked, and I said, "Hey, you want to come up here and look? There's Eo and I'm not going to name all of the planets right now. I mean the moons around Jupiter, but you can see, if you know the cycles, you know when to go look at the sky, and some things you can see and some things you can't without a telescope. So yeah, it's
Beautiful.
fun.
I love
It's
it. Well,
great.
even like on the homepage of your website, right? You mentioned
Yeah.
navigating by the stars as within, so without. And you say we were
Yes.
born at a given moment in a given place. And like a vintage years of wine, we have the qualities of the year and the season of which we are born. Astrology does not lay claims to anything more. That's from
That's
Carl
right.
Gustav Jung. Is that how
Carl
I say the
Jung.
last name? Jung.
Yeah,
Carl,
Carl
yeah.
Jung. Yeah, he is a psychologist who studied. Um, he studied astrology also, and he would get charts done for some of his clients, some of his patients, and he understood that there's other ways of seeing things, and it was very important. So just like, yeah, like you grow grapes and you call it the vintage, 2021. What a great year for, you know, muskiness or whatever. I don't know anything about wine, but I know about people,
Yeah.
and studying all this. And here's the thing about astrology that I love so much. If we taught astrology in schools, we could better understand each other and say, oh, this person is a Cancer. They're watery,
Yeah.
emotional. They feel everything. Oh, that person's a Libra. They want fairness and balance, but it's all about in the mind. They're an air sign. And and we can see the differences. Where people get caught up in astrology is they get stuck on what's your sun sign. There's only that's the sun is just one planet. You've got to take into consideration where the person's moon is. That talks about their feelings. Where their Mercury is, how they're going to learn, how they communicate, and where their Venus is, what they love and what they need in relationship. And then Mars, where their energy goes, what they'll fight for. So every one of the planets has a different function. So, if you study it, and if people were to compare, I do a lot of relationship readings, comparing charts, boss, employee, parent, child, best friends, whatever. Anybody wants to look at how compatible they are, you can look at the charts and really tell a lot about the relationship.
Gosh. And then
Yeah.
also, to kind of wrap things up, we have 4 more minutes left on the show.
Okay.
With the work you're doing and how, here we are talking, communicating openly via a Zoom call, you call people.
Yeah.
What are the specifics that they need to get started if they want to work with you, with astrology? What if they're a little anxious and nervous? What are some of the
Yeah.
things we bring to the table?
Well, they can always email me and ask questions, and I'll get back to them. And then I'll, call them if they want, and we can talk a little bit. Because I just need to know their time and date and place of birth, and then I can cast a chart, and it's very enlightening. And I did someone's chart recently whose wife was having readings before, and he'd never had it done, but he was blown away by it. He was like, wait, how can you know that much about me? And I said, because astrology works. And I've been studying it for a long time. So if people want to get a hold of me, they just go to my website, click on the email thing, send me tell me they want to sign up for the email. I think the link is down right now for signing up for a reading, but they can always email me and I'll get back to them.
Well, thank you so much. And also, in closing today, anything we should be doing, feeling differently, as you mentioned, it was was it 3/11 today, right? The new moon.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yep. And it just happened. So we just had the new moon. Let me just see here. 3:11 p.m. Woohoo! Sun and moon together in Leo. I'm saying, I'm going to do a new moon ceremony with friends on the beach tonight. We do a shamanic ceremony where we honor the four directions and Mother Earth and Father Sky. And we put our wishes. That's what you can do, is you put your wishes into the fire. Even if you don't have a fire, light a candle, write your wishes down on a piece of paper, set it in front of the candle, and set your intention for the new moon to really express yourself, let your inner child out to play, and have fun over the next 30 days.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. I can't wait.
You're welcome.
Suzanne Keating, if we want to reach out, Pathways of the Soul. What's the website?
ACK.com.
Perfect. And social media, phone number you want to share, hon?
508-221-1283. And I'm also on Instagram at Pathways of the Soul Astrology ACK, and on Facebook at Pathways of the Soul. I think that's all it is.
Perfect. We just Google you pop up. I know that. And it's Suzanne.
Yeah, I do.
Zanne. Keating is Keating. Got it.
Thank you, Jill.
Thank you so much. You have a fantastic day.
And I hope you have great fun in Florida with you boys.
Thank you. Me too. I appreciate that. Here comes that vacation. Oh, yeah. Lunar cycle is here.
Go
Thank
for
you.
It. Yeah. Okay. Take care.
Bye, honey. Thank you.
Bye.
This is the Global Podcast Network, where executives and professionals connect, share, and inspire. Stay tuned for the conversations that drive success.